Hello, good evening, and welcome to this new episode of What's Up with Dead by Daylight. Thank you very much for joining us. This is what's gonna happen.
Yeah, this is what's gonna happen.
Oh yeah, this is what's gonna happen.
A pile of sheet of papers that I'm owning.
Thank you again for joining me. Bjorn, thank you very much for making this happen. And thank you to our mods for helping us herd these cats.
Yeah.
Who do we have?
We have Bucket, McLean, Murph, Peanuts, Sassy, Suggestive, and Faded.
All right.
Thank you
cool.
for being here,
Thank
guys.
you very much for joining us. Hopefully this doesn't turn into a mess.
Apparently, I'm a programmer. That's
Nope, no, you're
freaking
not.
awesome. You know,
And
guys, if I program the game,
this is gonna be messy. That's actually not good. And I believe there's a
yeah.
Côté is not. Anyway, it's
Okay.
fine.
So,
work on this. Yeah.
We can start by telling you what our plan is for the Twitch streams, guys.
Yep. We talked a bit and we decided to try something new. You can let us know if you think it's better or worse or just slightly different.
Yes. Well, actually, the new format will be a 30-minute stream.
So essentially everything we did in an hour, we'll squeeze it as much as
Well,
possible.
not at all everything, because when we had people coming in and explaining certain subjects,
Fair enough.
this is going to be happening after stream. We're going to have a panel on a specific subject. So basically, all the core informations are going to be in the first 30 minutes. We're going to have a little short pause, and then we're going to have a panel for a specific subject. This is something we're trying. We're going to see if it works.
Mostly because the anniversary actually showed that people were super excited and very interested when we started going a little more in depth into different subjects and things like that with experts coming in.
Exactly. And to add this, because I know a lot of people like the Q&A portion, which obviously is going to be shorter. One of the reasons why we're shortening the stream is because I'm currently working on an FAQ that's going to be ending up on the website. We're gonna show you there when it's there because it's not ready yet. But all the questions that we answer every week. Is Legacy ever coming back, Queen? No, it's not. These questions that we're answering every stream are going to be answered there, and we're going to just show you where to get the answers. So that's the plan. So shorter.
The questions, first of all, the questions that we get each and every time, the questions that we get each and every time, we're not going to re-answer them as much, at least.
Exactly.
And the questions that specifically have to do with the subject of our second portion will then be kept for that portion.
Exactly. So that's the plan.
Yeah. So the next point in the news. So we were done with the anniversary now, but the things that we're working on right now, the team, what they're focusing on. I think you went around and asked a little bit today. If you want to take us through that.
Okay. Well, basically, what are we doing right now as a team? Is we're focusing on matchmaking.
Yes. And all aspects of it.
Yes, all aspects of it, either console or PC. Console is helping us figure out, because PC is having more features that need to be added to have a good matchmaking. Console is helping us also figure out some stuff on the PC side. When we have something that we think is better than the Steam matchmaking, we're going to do the same thing we did a few weeks back. And we're going to try it out for a day, ask for, hey, what's your opinion on it? And do exactly like we did last time.
Because it was very polarized last time we did it. We had a bunch of people for whom it was absolutely better, much smoother, everything went well. And a bunch of people, mostly people in more regions, less populated regions, let's say. And for those people, it was pretty horrible. So overall, it didn't feel like an improvement globally, so we didn't do it. But there's things that we're fixing that will make it better. But when we feel that what we have is an improvement on the current quality of life, we'll make it. On the console, by the way, I want to mention, we fixed the PS4 matchmaking within 24 hours of the console release. about. For us, it was the fixes went out about 24 hours in. The time for Sony to approve and push the patch pushed us a little longer. Xbox got the fix a couple days later.
Same reason.
Same reason. Microsoft and Sony have a very strong hold on what you can publish on their networks, obviously. Much more than Steam, in the sense that Steam, we have full control and we can just patch without asking questions. However, after we've published a couple patches and Sony and Microsoft see that we have a good enough quality of patches, they will allow us a little more leeway and we'll be able to patch faster and faster.
Which also makes me jump in and say that we are still working in improving the matchmaking.
For sure.
We fixed big issues, but we are still working on it. It's an ongoing process. And there's a lot of things that you won't see in patches that we are changing on our ends. So that's also something.
Yeah, that's the other thing is a lot of the fixes are done on the client, which is essentially all the code that you have running on your machine or your console. And some of the fixes are done on the back end, on our side. And so we can hopefully work on both sides at the same time and make improvements. When we do it on the back end on our side, we can make those changes without you noticing and within a second.
Okay.
So
I'm just writing me a note first. Okay.
All right.
Next. So yeah, console FPS. Yeah, my note was for another thing that I saw on chat, and I don't want to forget to talk about it.
Let's talk about consoles.
Consoles. FPS on consoles.
Yeah.
We do hear that is a problem. We don't know that is a problem, and we are working on it. There's nothing much I can tell you right now than that. So the problems arise in certain specific situations, and we're trying to nail them down and do some profiling. Specifically on killer side, with some actions.
Yeah.
So
certain specific landmarks or places in maps.
So we're pinpointing those, and we're trying to, of course, optimize.
Yeah.
Then something here for me more than team in general. Communication with console players. So
you skipped matchmaking.
Well, we talked about it.
Fine.
So basically, working right now to try to have the in-game pop-up a little bit more easier to modify for us to send information. And
we're talking about the news thing that pops up when you launch the game.
Yeah, so actually you can have the actual news without downloading a patch. And also I'm currently working to have the whole community hub on the website, so we can actually have a place where every player can go. You don't have to go on forums, you don't have to go anywhere, it's going to be on the website.
On a side note on that, the communication with console players is something that we had not anticipated would be such an issue. PC players, it's easy to get the message across. If we have a quick fix or a workaround for something, the Steam forums are there. We can make announcements on Steam. We can make, there are many ways, events, things. People go on Reddit. People go get the information. But on console, unless we shove it in your face, you're probably not gonna see this. No, but it's true. It's a completely different way of interacting with the game.
It's also a different type of gamer.
Absolutely.
In general.
So we have the news feed, but the news feed is essentially part of the code, part of the client. It's not based off of information that is in the back end. We need to fix that, but it's not a simple matter.
So I can be annoying and change it every day.
So that's it.
Basically.
That would be ideal because it means it's right in your face when you start the game if we have a message to broadcast to everybody. That's not done yet, but it's an important one. Xbox and PS4 also have in-game notifications that can go through the HUD that they have in there, the menu. It's not as in your face.
Yeah, but we're working on these accesses.
But it might be a simpler solution.
And then soundtrack for console players.
Very important.
You can go. You had the meeting.
So a lot of people. Essentially, the soundtrack is supposed to be part of the package of the special edition on console. Unfortunately, due to mix-ups, it wasn't included on it. and therefore right now we're working very, very fast to try to remedy this. People who paid for the soundtrack and want it, I mean, it's yours. You should have it. So we will get it in your hands very quickly. Right now we're working on what will it be the exact delivery method. We want to make it simple, and we want to make sure that everybody who is owed a soundtrack gets it as fast as possible. So we know, and we will make it happen.
And then finally, which
Yes,
that one is easy, guys. Halloween DLC on console.
it is coming. It's happening.
And you know 100% that we cannot say when. So it's,
No,
Yes.
but you know, it is going to be an add-on to the game. It is going to be the first thing that you can add to your game through the console menus. It's just not out yet, but it is coming. There's nothing in the world that could stop us from getting Michael Myers in your hands.
Okay.
That's
so,
not true. There are probably a few things that
yeah,
can get
I wouldn't go there. Okay.
Not many things, let's say.
Community and a little
Bears.
information about bugs, about a lot of things that been talked about in the past and that I'm kind of taking back into my hands because anniversary preparation was a bit crazy.
I'd actually put this on top.
Yeah,
Let's talk about
my
this.
first priority right now, if of course working with the team, is to instigate the soft bans.
Yeah.
Because I firmly think that a lot of issues that we encountering in game are from bad behavior, from people abusing, and right now we have our hands tied. So my first priority as a person,
As a person.
is to get that going.
Yeah.
So that's me. Can you put it? Yeah. Okay. Thank
Yeah.
you. About the information, about other stuff I want to work on, and the same idea of having access to the pop-up in-game is to have access to a in-game poll. So
Yes.
instead of having, instead
Like we
of
did for the
having, like we
killers,
did for the killer, to make sure, to ensure a better, I don't know how to put that.
A more transparent process.
There we
so
go.
that people feel more confident about the value of
The
that
plan
poll.
would be to have the poll pop up when you get the game, you vote or you don't, whatever you want, and we gather the information. So that would be a plan. Then,
PvE mode? What the hell would be a PvE mode in Dead by Daylight? A brand new game.
yeah, it would be against killer bots. I don't know.
Hmm.
Next, MLGA. It's been something that's been popping
Yeah.
up and out of the feeds. We actually are in direct contact with the guy who made MLGA. Our programmers are talking right now with him. For us, it's kind of basically difficult because it's a very, seeing the killer profile was in the game design, and then seeing it was a bug for us since the beginning. But since it's been removed, what we saw on the community side is that I get a lot more reports of bad behavior, of harassment, of so for me it's a problem. So right now we're working on a couple of solutions on this specifically. I can't promise anything right now, but MLGA for now is been looked at to make sure with the Kindred add-on and all those things that they're talking about it like right now. So I want to make sure everybody knows about it. Then borrowed time. So that was something I heard a lot and I experienced also. Borrowed time has been put on the game design board to be relooked at because right now we think it's too strong. Well,
you certainly think it's too strong.
I do think it's too strong. I'm a
Especially
survivor main.
in certain instances.
And in certain instances, this perk is, I think, too strong, and it promotes a certain way of playing that maybe is not our goal or final goal.
I think
anyways, design is going to look at it.
Yeah.
It's not going to be me. Design is going to look at it. They're going to come up with a solution. We saw a lot of suggestions in the forums that I relayed to the design team. So we're gonna see what we're gonna propose, suggest about this. But borrow time is back on the drawing board.
Well,
that's for sure.
Not totally.
Not totally. The
because
perk
the perk
is
itself
staying.
works and it's
the
nice.
idea of the perk is staying.
But it creates a few edge edge cases where it becomes unpleasant for everyone.
Exactly.
And that's what we're gonna address. What else?
Then we go back up there. Scratch marks and
FOV. Okay.
FOV. So
Scratch marks.
I'm gonna start with FOV so we can kill that beast first.
Right.
FOV, which the programmers are heritated when I call it that.
Yeah.
But basically, we saw that there were 4 different
issues that people fold into the same thing.
First thing, the Hillbilly weapon, which was covering like part of the screen, which has been fixed.
Yeah.
Second, the camera pop after you hit a survivor, which has been fixed. Third, it's at the beginning of the match. There's a 360. Yeah, you're looking at the timer. There's a 360 around the killer, which when it hits something, any tree or anything, it might zoom in and then stay zoomed in on the killer, which means you don't see your weapon and your field of view is weird.
Yeah.
This is known. It needs to be fixed. It still has to be fixed. Yeah. Then the last thing, lastly, is the way, and I know someone talked about that in a panel. I'm pretty sure of it.
Yeah.
But I'm still gonna repeat it. Is the way the camera is positioned on the killer's body.
It's not the eyes.
Before it was in front of the chest.
Yeah.
So you could see like the amazing right legs. You could go down a lot. To prevent using a hit and seeing through the
walls and
the lockers and everything, the camera's been pushed back a little bit in the killer model, which means the angle of the camera is shorter or smaller. This right now we know about. I know some people want to relook at it, but it's not on the plans right now. So fixing the bug with the camera, yes. The last one, no. Not in the plans yet, but still in our minds. Scratch marks. So scratch marks have been looked at. We fixed some areas that were very problematic with scratch marks, for example, asylum and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Right now, I put it back on the board because I want to look at the difference with different perks. So notably lightweight and the time that the scratch marks are, the time it takes to actually see the scratch marks.
And the time for them to disappear.
Yes, and where they're appearing. So that's the plan right now. So we're back on it. That's all I can say.
What else you got on your list?
For now, this is what I wanted to talk about today. We have a couple of questions here that were interesting.
Let's take a few. But I want to reiterate, because that's the list of the big things that you keep bringing up to the team, and that's great. The one big one that right now is going to get heard and get listened to most is the soft ban, because that is critical to the quality of life of people.
Yes, because if you can't have fun and you know that someone that is harassing you is not going to be punished, you can't have fun. End of story. And we want people that have fun.
Okay, let's take a few questions. No?
Can I just answer something?
Yeah, sure.
So body blocking on the stairs of the basement, stuff like
it's part of your
harassing and everything.
Anything that
We're not
going to go into the
set
rules
yet,
right now.
and I'm not going to go into the rules because the rules are not set, and I don't want to announce any rules before we actually know what they are.
Yeah, and anyway, it's going to be a pretty long list of complete details, which is going to be available, obviously, in forums and everywhere.
The second we are instigating that program, that soft bans, everybody is going to know about the rules. But it's going to help a lot on a lot of problems that we have right now.
So, I'd like to start, that's Boss asking, I'd like to start saying I enjoy the game the most for a long time now. Secondly, when will a trading crafting system be implemented for items, add-ons, and or offerings? Been waiting for this ever the Nurse came out. Lastly, again, great game. We talked about this in the past a little bit, the trading crafting system. It's something that we want, being able to grind stuff that you have 20 of and you don't care so much, less used items and add-ons, all of that. We want to do that, but it has to be part of a much bigger rework of the whole system of how we handle items, add-ons, the grind, the progression. So we want to look at that, but it's going to take a while because it's going to be part of a bigger system. Darktronic saying, when do you plan to release the new rank MMR system? Any word on it, please? That we are going to touch upon that in the panel.
The panel right after
this.
Yep.
Could borrowed time possibly be applied to the user of that perk if they're able to get off the hook by themselves? Absolutely not. Borrowed time is about saving other people. It's not the spirit of the thing. And as we talked about, it's a little strong already. And unhooking yourself is a last resort kind of thing. And no, there's no such thing as the 5%.
No.
If you feel like it, you can absolutely let people off the hook, so to speak, but no. Can the perk Hex Third Seal, when you rework it, not only block auras, but also the proficiency system effect caused by killers? With that in addition, would not tell Curse Survivor that they're affected by a totem, and as killer you could hide the status effect like Cursed, Ruin, Thanatophobia, and Exposed?
No. The answer is no from design.
Okay.
That's an answer.
Will there be any balance changes with the upcoming DLC? So there's two ways of looking at this.
Yeah.
The two answers are, whenever we come up with a patch, whether it's a full-on DLC or just a little patch for something specific, we usually fold in a few bug fixes and tweaks and balance elements, which means that yes, any upcoming DLC will come with its share of balance changes. Also, whenever we do a DLC, usually what's on the roadmap for us is the week after or really shortly after, we have a balance pass that comes pertaining to that DLC.
I've seen in where is it? Damn, I missed. Oh, I seen a question that was
more video settings.
Yeah, more video settings. Actually, I had a talk with UI and programmers, and for now we have no plans on supporting widescreens. So ultra wide monitors,
like
we don't
16:9 we do, but
we don't have plans for that. And for 4Ks, we are not working right now on.
It'd be cool, but
it's sadly right now it's not a priority because of the number of users.
That have a
versus
4K.
the whole
people
bunch
who need,
of players.
Help on performance.
Exactly.
So if we have to go one end or the other, FOV fix when we talked about that. Oh,
sorry.
You talked about the
we
elements
did.
of that.
We did.
Quebec's is asking, can I find ultra rare item in chest? Funny, we went on a little investigative reporting together.
I, for once, never found any, so I'm unlucky.
We went to see Dave. Dave says, yes, on principle, you're supposed to, in theory. So we're like, okay, theory, that's good, but we went to see QA and we said, anybody on the team ever get like a red item in a chest? And someone said, oh, I got one in a secret box on the Blood Web. I'm like, yeah, that's good, but that's not that.
That's not.
And Shelby said, yeah, it happened to me once. And we're like, okay, that's all we need. So yes, it is possible.
Ultra rare.
It is ultra rare, which is exactly as designed. Cupcake Cookie is saying, are there any patches planned for the console version? So the console version will have patches, obviously. First of all, we want to make sure that the content itself is the same on both, to a certain degree, in the sense that it's going to be a little slower on console, because since we can't patch as quickly, we have to be certain that when we patch, it's worth the effort and the energy it takes to do that. So it's probably going to be slower than on PC, but it's going to constantly be catching up to the PC game so that all players of Dead by Daylight play the same game in essence.
They're going to be faster release.
Yeah, but that's, as we were going to say, as we go and we build up trust with Microsoft and Sony, they will allow us to patch a little easier. Are you doing something to improve the Totem location?
We are not working on it at the moment.
Nope. Lo Pietro is asking.
So I answered that already. When will you fix
Yeah.
the scratch marks? I mean, that's where we are right now.
And then we have Ketchup asking, is there a reason why the Deep Cleansing achievement on console only requires 10 Hex Totem as opposed to 100 on the PC?
There is a reason. Because that 100 X Totem achievement is the bitch to get.
Yeah, so when we noticed how hard it was to get on PC, we decided that the version on console should be more reasonable. The problem is that you cannot, well, you can, but it is really frustrating for us.
I'm still working on
if
that
we
one.
were to, let's say, revert it back to 50 on console. Not only does it mean that people who got it for 100 would feel cheated, but we could run into problems where, let's say you have 75 right now and we put it back to 50, you might never trigger it because now the trigger point is 50 and you will never reach 50.
Yep.
So we didn't want to touch it, but when we did it on console, we
I'm still
decided
grinding
to.
it.
There you go, you'll get it someday.
I can say PC Master Race.
There you go.
What?
You can absolutely say that.
What?
I did not hear you. Okay, we have a few minutes left. I want to go to my favorite part where we show amazing art other than these physical beauts. Oops.
So,
And I just broke your
Yeah.
network. Cool. So let's show a few cool things that we found around the webs.
can we name them though?
Yep.
Do you know who that one is? That one I know is from Gems 99.
Well, and this is Sandy Misaki who sent us that.
Thank you.
So we start with a Chotical today, who made this very buff Dwight. I love it.
Sorry, I didn't see that
He
one.
looks like a badass. Next one we have Dottie with a really cool Meg cosplay. Well done. Next one is Gersh, who gave us a strangely mean looking Nia. Then we have Ghoul. Beautiful style. I like it quite a lot.
What does he read?
I don't know, but he's not thrilled about it. Next we have Killer Senpai Please No More, who sent us this really cool Nia cosplay. Thank you again.
That's a lot of Nias.
Yeah, well, I like my Nia cosplay. But also, strangely, there's a lot of Nia stuff coming out this week. Next is LPF, I believe, with a really cute laser bear plushie.
That's amazing.
It's really, really cool. I like seeing different styles done in this. Mori Me Daddy is the next one here with a very, very cute
I've
little
seen that already.
shitty killer. Next one is Shani. This made the rounds on the team.
Yeah,
I love it. It's beautifully done. Everything about it is just perfect. Even the pig is there, which is
The
amazing.
killer, the trapper is playing with the little cubes and is spelling trap.
Yeah. Yeah, and the artists actually laughed because at first they saw tarp, and there's tarps everywhere in the game, which was kind of fun. Next one is Sleazy. It is now my wallpaper.
Stop it with the Nia things.
Oh no. So yeah, well done Sleazy. Thank you for giving me a new wallpaper. Next is Soram, who did this brilliant Minecrafty version of Lamkin Lane. Great work. Svapna, I believe, made this beautiful inspiration for the Panama hat. And then the last one will be Vrompy, who made this hauntingly funny little doctor piece. Thank you very, very much for all of this.
So, before we end,
Yes.
I want to answer a question that I've seen in chat earlier
Yes.
about the wire spool flashlights,
Oh,
which are still in the game for some people because they used either an ancient file to keep it on there, or if, for example, someone is having it and is giving it to you in a game, you can bring it back.
yeah.
So, yeah, we fixed the bug that can, make one, but there are kind of, I don't know,
They're leftovers. They're
leftovers
artifacts.
of this cheat.
But since no new ones are created, except if you cheat,
It's
the,
still-
the population should drop.
It's still a problem, and we still know about it.
Yeah.
So I just want to say that I know about it. That's all.
That's nice. I'll have to talk about this at some point. Thank you, SAU. I'll look at it later.
Other thing about camping, because I see like it's just spamming about camping. We are hopeful that a couple of changes that are incoming are going to help with that. So for now, for me, I think it's the end.
Yes, will you come join us in the Discord to make sure?
I will join you guys on Discord and on the chat.
So
but
the last thing, I will give the definition of the word of the day, which is what is it today?
Mortiferous.
Mortiferous, which is relating and creating debt. So there, it's kind of appropriate.
And hag, I know.
You know about the
I
hag?
know about the hag.
Okay.
I'm talking to
Well,
QA.
thank you very much. I will see you in the Discord channel so people can actually ask questions about the relevant
Please
stuff.
be a game programmer.
And cue the transition because we're totally. All right, already we are back.
That was fast.
Yes, McLean.
Hello.
You don't have a first name.
Apparently not.
No, like Sting or
Yeah.
Jewel.
Madonna.
Yeah, I guess. Bono. Thank you for joining me.
It's my pleasure.
Okay. Let's talk about the Victory Cube.
Victory Cube.
That's the first everybody hears about it. As some of you may know, cubes are what we call,
Six-sided squares.
yeah, that's internally, that's what we
Oh,
call them. And it's also what we call those group of changes that we
Yes.
want to do around a certain subject. So there, the Victory Cube. What the hell's that?
Yeah, so I think we mentioned it in passing in our anniversary extravaganza,
you-
panelganza, but we didn't get too specific, so we've done the work, and I guess we can now talk about the Victory Cube.
Yeah. I will add that it's supposed to come. We thought we might be able to bring it to people maybe this week, but
Yeah.
right now we're not happy. It's not good enough, and we'll keep banging on it with our programming hammers.
I was just banging on it earlier.
Yeah. And then when we're done, we'll
I'm gonna-
release
I'm
it.
gonna bang it again.
There you go.
I'm almost done, I swear. So the Victory Cube.
What does that include?
all right,
Why do we
so-
call it Victory Cube?
Because these are a group of changes that are all focused on a specific part of the end game scenario and how a game is won.
Specifically for the killers.
Specifically for the killer, there are changes in here for survivors too, but there's one very, very large change, and it's a killer change.
So the idea of the victories, the different levels of
Yes.
victories, is completely redone.
Yeah, I'm sure you've all had situations where you played an amazing killer game and you got a whole ton of points and you pipped and you were very happy, and then the game said, like, embarrassing defeat, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
And we don't like that. It's mixed messaging, and it really sort of muddies the idea of what does it mean to win a match.
Well, from the get-go, this game is very unclear about what's winning and what's not, which I think could be potentially seen as an artful way to question life and everything. However,
Yes.
it makes it a little awkward when it's a game.
Yes. We've got grand plans about matchmaking and winning and all that stuff, and this is, let's call it the first step. You have to be able to sort of define what a win is if you want to go forward with win rates and things
Get
like
to
that.
the gritty.
All right, so the big change. Tapping the spacebar or the enter key will focus the input on the chat when available. Oh, sorry, it's
What the hell are you talking about?
that's the wrong change. All right, can we get killer goals? But embiggened, and not us.
No. Thank
All
you.
right. So, killer goals are the new way for killers to figure out if they have won or lost a match. So there are going to be some things you can do to get killer goals. These are the things that award killer goals. The way it works is that you will get a killer goal point if you hook somebody for the first time, if that person gets to the struggle phase, and you'll get 2 points if they are sacrificed. You'll get 2 points if a survivor is killed with a memento mori, and you'll get 1 point if they bleed out. If they disconnect while you're loading, you'll get 2 points. If they disconnect during the trial, you'll get a full 4. The reason why this works this way is because you can get 4 points per survivor, and unless my math is incorrect, 4 by 4 makes a total of 16.
As far as I know.
There you go.
But does that mean that if someone has gone on the hook and has struggled and then disconnects during the trial, you'll get 6 points?
That's not true, because there's a little thing right behind our faces that says maximum points per survivor, 4.
Ah, okay, thank you.
Very good. So if we proceed to the next slide, which is killer goals continued, can we get killer goals continued memeless? Very good, thank you. These are the results for the killer goals. If you get 0 to 7, we will take away one of your pips. As far as progressing through the ranks of killerhood is concerned, you did not do a good enough job to be considered a better killer than you currently are. If you get 8, we will leave you right where you are. If you get 9 to 15, that will add a pip. If you get 16, you get a 2-pip game. So for killers, progressing through ranks is about sacrificing. And that is the meaty change for the Victory Cube. But there's more that we can talk about. In fact, we mentioned getting some points for a Mori. There are changes to how that works. That's right. Can we get Mori old, just to refresh people's memories of how these offerings work?
Thank you.
Yeah. So these are some interesting offerings that you've no doubt seen in your blood webs. They are, I guess, slightly controversial, let's say.
They tend to elicit intense reactions.
Fair. So since we've worked them into the new killer goals system, we thought it was probably time to address how they can sometimes result in maybe a game that's too fast, or taking someone out, for example, in the first 2 minutes of the game and you feel a little bit awkward about it. We decided it was time to tone this down a little bit, so we can look at Mori new and see if you can spot the change. I'll give you guys a minute, but not a whole minute like this, like one of those airtime minutes, because now I'll talk about the change. You'll see that for Ivory Memento Mori and Ebony Memento Mori will now require the survivor to have been hooked once before they can be killed by your own hand. So you gotta give the entity a chance.
Yeah.
And then he'll say, okay, you tried.
Yeah.
You tried. So I'm sure that there are many people saying, hold on, wait a minute, you can't nerf Memento Mori if survivors still have brand new part. That's just unfair. Let's take a look at brand new part old, just to refresh everyone's memories.
This, I was gonna swear, but this darn thing. Well, I can tell you that playing against QA here with cheats on is annoying because they tend to just do that. They all grab a brand new part and then you start the game and it goes boom, 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 and then they get out.
Yeah. So I mean, we had a lot of talks when we introduced this. This was the most rarest of add-ons for survivors, and we're like, well, it's obviously risky, but it's interesting and it's rare. I think I brought up to Dave the analogy a year and a half ago that it's like the Black Lotus in original Magic.
Absolutely.
You know,
Blacker Lotus was the best one.
Of course.
It's from Unglued.
Unglued.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it really speeds up the game. The idea was if it doesn't happen very often, it's not a big deal. It's like, oh, wow, that's special. But if it happens all the time, it can get a little bit annoying.
Yeah.
So we have a new version. We have a brand new part, which we can take a look at now, but we're going to hide our faces.
Yeah.
So there's a lot more text on it, which is fine, I think, for a rare thing. It looks more impressive if you're like, what's this red thing? And then you get hit in the face with a wall of text. So I'll step you through it. If you equip a brand new part on any toolbox, it will replace the toolbox repair action with a new action called Install Brand New Part. A quick note, installing brand new part does not, by itself, do repair progress on the generator. That's going to come from the skill checks, and you're going to be getting skill checks every 2 seconds while you do brand new part. It's going to be the skill check game. Every 2 seconds you get a skill check. Good skill checks, 5% of the total generator. Great skill checks, 10% of the total generator progress. So if you sit there and you hit all your great skill checks, in 20 seconds you've done a whole generator. That's infinitely worse than the old brand new part, if you do the math.
But for that, you have to do a perfect repair, essentially.
Yeah. So this is a way to get through a generator really quickly, but you have to put some effort into it.
And the last bit is very interesting because it's not only completing the repair obviously will consume the toolbox, but failing the skill check or interrupting the action. So you have to be on the ball. You have to be very careful.
You commit to it.
Yeah.
You start installing a brand new part. You do as much as you can. Once you stop, that's it.
But the other good thing is that you can do like a third of it, get interrupted, and you've still done a lot of progress.
Yeah.
So
brand new part, still the fastest way to do a generator, but it's not as, I'm not going to say brainless, but it's not as easy as it used to be.
Yeah. I got a question which is related to the killer points we were talking earlier.
Yes.
It says how many points the killer have by the time once. Oh, okay. So in game, will you be able to see how many points you've got so far?
Not yet.
But is it something that we're thinking about?
You'll see it in the tally screen.
Yeah, but it's the same thing with everything right now. Survivors cannot see. I saw the question actually earlier in the chat. Like, if you're in the middle of playing, you can't, like in so many other games, let's say, press tab and see the tally of what's happening right now, where we're at.
It's something that we talk about a lot actually on the floor. I've been talking with Bucket.
Yeah.
About how to get more information in a inobtrusive way, because we like. Let's use the word immersive. I love the word immersive. We like to have, what you see in the game is the game, and then if you want to have the extra information in some way that's not obtrusive, we don't want giant amounts of things.
We might actually do that, and I'm just designing on the fly here, but we might want to do that for, let's say, the spectator in the Kill Your Friends, which is the tournament mode, so that you could narrate and shoutcast and be able to talk about the score as it's happening. That's something that we would look at.
That would be cool.
Would someone taking a brand new part be able to use it on a certain generator, take it up to 90%, but then move on to another generator and do the same? No, because interrupting the action actually depletes the brand new part.
If you let go of your interaction button for any reason, you're done. Your toolbox is consumed.
Yeah. Oh, do survivors get a bonus when another survivor DCs? So right now, if a survivor DCs during the game, the killer will get points.
Yes.
But will the other survivors get a bonus because now they have no help and they're sort of up shit creek by themselves?
That's not in the victory cube.
Okay.
But it does sound like a reasonable thing.
I agree. Okay.
So there are a couple of other things in the victory cube.
Yes,
so
please.
We're going to move through them here. Do this slightly faster.
That's okay. We've got time. This is why we're here.
Oh, fair enough. It's the live team panel.
Yes, it's your time.
It's my time, finally. Okay, so there's another fairly large change. I expect to hear like a lot of talk about this one. We are increasing the amount of time it takes to sacrifice a survivor on the hook.
True.
Used to be that it was 45 seconds in the. I don't think we've actually called it this very often, the summoning phase and the struggle phase.
Yeah.
I like this terminology. I don't know if it's popular out there.
I don't think it's canon, but
let's call the first phase. I'm going to call it the summoning phase because the entity is being summoned.
Yeah, but this is a heavy lore bit that you're trying to establish here.
I didn't come up with it, but I haven't seen it used, so I don't know how canon it is.
Yeah, it's fine.
All right. So the first phase of the hook.
It's called that.
Is going from 40.
It might be accurate or not.
All right. Yeah. So phase 1 was 45 seconds. This is the phase during which you can attempt to escape. Now it will be 60. Phase 2, when all you can do is struggle to survive, was 45 seconds. Now it's 60. So for those of you playing math at home, that's a total of
120 seconds
instead of 90.
Yeah.
So that's an extra 30 seconds of hook time.
Important to note that the attempts will now eat away more time. Therefore, you will not get more attempts.
That's right.
I'm doing this because I play on a controller, and that's the attempt.
It's 20 seconds penalty for failing to...
Instead of 15.
Instead of Well, yeah.
It used to be 3 attempts would
Yeah.
make you
It-
go into the next phase.
And then something strange happened, and we started allowing 4 attempts off the hook. It wasn't really intentional, but we weren't going to make a big stink about it, but you could do it. And now it's back to 3. So
No.
it was always meant to be 3. It was always 3. We've always been at war with Eurasia. You've always had 3 hook attempts.
Always been at war with Eurasia.
I don't know what you mean.
Okay.
So there are a couple more changes. One of them is to hook scoring.
Yes.
It used to be that the score you'd get for hooking a survivor was simply based on the amount of time that they were hooked. We're changing that up a little bit. Hooking a survivor is now going to be a little bit more exciting. You get 500 points right off the bat. Even if you hook them and then somebody crawled right between your legs and unhooks the person, you get 500 points for hooking them.
Oh, and that's a huge thing also, is because right now the victory that we're talking about here is what will drive your pips
Yes.
and your rank,
Yes.
as opposed to your points.
Your points.
The blood points you accumulate will drive your progression, but will have nothing to do with
Yeah.
your pips.
Yeah, so you can split it as your player progression, how good are you at playing the game, and your character progression, like how strong is your trapper, how many perks does he have, what is his inventory.
Obviously, if you have a very good game, you should get a lot of both.
Yeah.
But now it's decoupled.
Yeah. Now we have more ways to reward you
There you go.
or punish you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 500 points for hooking a survivor, and we've adjusted the rest based on the it's called the thresholds of the hook. So 200 points once. Here's how it works. 500 points for hooking anytime. You put someone on the hook, 500 points. If it was the first time you hooked them, an extra 200. If a survivor gets the struggle phase, an extra 200. And if they are finally sacrificed, an extra 200. Which means that depending on how many times you've hooked a survivor, you will get between 1,100 and 2,100 points. Wait. 1,300 and 2,300 points.
No.
1,100 and 2,100. I was at the first
There
time.
you go.
Yeah.
That's
Math.
cool.
Anyway,
Math is hard.
I didn't come up with these numbers. I'm just presenting them. I guess I programmed them, but
You didn't come up with the numbers.
I didn't come up with the
They
numbers.
existed way before.
That's right.
Those are interesting little change there.
This one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Killers can now see the auras of hooks on which survivors are being sacrificed.
Yeah.
So that's something that existed for a bit,
Yeah.
that we removed because it was essentially a bug or
Yeah.
design,
It was a thing.
a non-decision design thing.
Yeah.
So now killers will be able to see the aura of survivors on hooks.
Not the survivors, though.
Well, the hook.
Only the hook. So before you could actually get some interesting
Yeah,
information.
because
You
you'd
could-
see people.
Yeah, you see if they're flapping or you see if they're being unhooked. It gives
Yeah.
you some information.
Now you just see the hook.
You see the hook. That's it. If you are like me and you sometimes get disoriented playing killer and you forget where you put your hook,
Yeah.
now you can know where the hook is. That's going to be very useful if you hook someone and then go do something else. Now you'll know where your hook is. You don't have to worry about it, but you can go. Maybe you'll feel better about it. That's fine if you do. Now moving into the smaller little details. While we were digging around here for the Victory Cube, there were some things we figured we can do now. There are some old score events that we removed all the way back because they were being abused before we had score
Yeah.
caps. We have score caps now, so we can say, okay, you can do this for a little bit, but don't do it all game. It's useless. One of those, you guys might remember, was getting points for jumping out of a locker when there was a killer near you.
Yeah.
Surprise! It's coming back! You will get 50 points for exiting a locker while there's a killer near you. Have fun.
Yeah. Whether you do it quickly or not.
Whether you do it quickly or not, but I would prefer you do it, quickly because it's awesome.
Yeah.
One of my favorite animations, actually, to be honest, the way they burst out of the. Anyway,
I think that to me it's probably the reaction you get when you get hit right in the face. That backwards flip.
the backflip is
yeah.
amazing. I think we had some talks whether that was too much, and everyone's
Yeah.
like, doesn't matter whether it's too much or not. It's
It's
amazing.
just so good.
Yeah. 2 existing score events have had their scores adjusted. We saw you guys having a lot of fun with the burritos during
Yeah.
the challenge, so we decided we're going to bring that up a little bit. Not to where it was historically. Some of you may remember 300 points for Map Scout.
A bit much.
It was a bit much. So we're bringing it from 50 to 150 points for map scouting, if that's what you like to do. Equip your burritos and go have some fun. A minor point, Hex Ruin skill check, going from 50 to 150 points, because really it kind of replaces the great skill check, and there's no real reason to penalize the points you get for doing your skill check just because the killer put Hex Ruin on. Plus, it feels pretty good to power your way through a Hex Ruin. You know, you're like, oh, that guy's perk is too strong, and then you decide, oh, I'll just hit every single great skill check, and then it doesn't even matter that he put that perk on. So there you go. And the last point that I want to bring up for the Victory Cube is post-exit altruism events.
Yes.
This is a fancy way of saying, for altruism, after the gates are powered, not open, but powered. So the generators are fixed, we've moved into the endgame scenario. You will now get more incentive to be altruistic. 25% extra points for healing, rescuing from traps, rescuing from hooks, and assisting. That's like basically being in the right place at the right time to help your friend. So real quick, that means that if you heal a friendly survivor, you will get 500 instead of 400. The assist is 315 instead of 250. Trap rescue is 1,250 instead of 1,000. And a post-generator hook rescue is a staggering 1,875 blood points.
That's quite a lot.
That's quite a lot of points. That's right. Don't spend them all at once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or do.
15, or I mean.
Actually, it's hard to not spend at least 1,800.
Yeah. I think 3,000 is the minimum.
Do spend them all in the same place.
Okay, so that's what I've got for the Victory Cube for now.
There's obviously going to be bug fixes and other tweaks that come into this, but this is the major change that's coming, and that's the big one that we're working on right now. That's going to be the next update. We have a question here. Does it stack with No One Left Behind?
Yes. Yes, what we've done is increase the base amount of the score. So anything that further increases scores will further increase these.
Yeah. Will New Mori need one hooking for Obsession, like Dying Light and Ivory Mori strategy?
Yes. You don't get a free Mori on the Obsession, although that's a cool idea for a thing. You can Mori your Obsession.
For free?
For free. I don't know. I'm not a designer, but it sounds cool to me.
Yeah, let's leave it up to the designer then. Yeah. Do we have interesting questions that have to do... how long roughly until this patch will be released? Well, when it's good and solid and ready. So it's...
Like a good Battle movie.
I guess. We might push a little. There will be some straining, but we do not want to hurt ourselves.
That's right.
And we certainly do not want to hurt you. So this is going to come out when it's good and ready.
That's right.
It's not going to be months.
No.
Very obviously, we have other shit to do, like we talked about. We have a long list of things that we want to get to, but yeah, it's imminent. Let's say imminent.
It's prairie dogging.
Yeah, exactly. I like that expression.
It's like, is this one good enough? No. Is this one good enough? QA.
When is the new killer coming out? That's got nothing to do with this.
No.
It's very hard to follow this. What was the X Ruin score change? I missed it.
Okay, that's fair. I think I zoomed past that one.
So Sassy is answering. That's fine.
In case anyone is interested, right now, if a killer is running Hex Ruin, it curses your skill checks, so that you have to hit the equivalent of a Great in order to continue, and if you do anything other than that, you're going to get penalized. However, the Great skill check for a Hex Ruin skill check only awards 50 points, whereas a regular one would award 150.
Yeah.
And we figure, well, you know what, that's really not fair. So if you get a Great skill check under Hex Ruin, you'll get the same 150 points that you would if they were not running Hex Ruin.
There you go.
There you go.
Will the Victory Cube patch be released on a rank reset? Probably not going to be timed with one.
It seems unlikely.
No, we don't want to have to, like when it's done, if we're ready, we'll release it and that's going to be it. Will there be global leaderboards? So we talked a little bit and we had a question earlier about the new rank system. That's going to come a little later. We want to make sure that we talked about the league system that we want to do and the new ranks and everything, and that's a much bigger system.
Yeah.
This is the first part of what we're doing with that.
Yes.
And we're gonna rework that, and that's gonna come probably in a couple months when we have done everything. And yeah, so it's gonna include a lot of changes to the way the progression is done, to the way you are judged amongst each other, how you can go through the ranks and go up the ladder, and then we will have an actual leaderboard where you can see like, if you're the 12th best survivor in the world.
Ranks and showing off and stuff will be pretty dramatically changed, I think.
Oh, will there be some nerf to infinite healings?
Well, we don't have that in here.
No.
It's something that I personally like to talk about. I don't know what.
Talk about it. This is your moment.
Oh, nice. But I'm not the design half of the live gameplay yet. But I do whisper in a design's ear. So one of the things I personally whisper is that I don't like how easy it is to be able to heal as much as you want through, for example, I guess the main culprit here is the perk Self-Care, which is a great perk. I've never liked the fact that there was no limit to how much you could do.
I agree. Well, that's why we played with the broken bone mechanic for a while. It ended up being something that we didn't feel was right in that state, but I agree with you. There's still, I mean, just the fact that we went as far as prototyping a mechanic to that tells you that this is something that we understand is not ideal and it could be made better, but we have to find the right way of doing it.
So if I were to get my way, there would be some adjustments to Self-Care. I don't want to make it worse. I want to make it not unlimited.
Yeah, that's
essentially.
Yeah. How does the brand new part interact with Ruin? Does it negate it?
No. Right now, Hex Ruin does not affect install brand new part.
Because it's not a repair check.
It's not a repair check.
It is an install brand new part.
Brand new part.
However, if the doctor is around, you might have some funky skill checks.
That's right. We made a change. I'm not sure where it fits in yet. Didn't it go live?
No, it's the doctor's cube that's farther down the line.
That's fair.
But already, right now, there are some funky skill checks sometimes with the doctor.
Yeah.
And if that happens, then you might get those with your brand new part.
Actually, it's not even in here. But it was for install brand new part that we made the change to the insane skill check. This will actually be in the victory cube unless I'm mistaken. I'm going to have to go out and double check this. But I don't know where I'll even post the retraction if I'm wrong. I am fairly certain that there's a change coming with the victory cube that means that the insane skill checks for the doctor will apply to all kinds of skill checks. It was specifically still that it would affect the install brand new part. And then we're like, well, while we're here, just do everything. So any skill check is now eligible to be affected by the doctor's insane skill check.
Can we get altruism points for pallet stunning a killer while he's holding someone?
I'm okay with that.
It's not in the works though.
No.
But yeah, that feels like an altruistic action. So yeah. Are you planning on nerfing Oddbulb?
Okay, so there are a lot of questions about. I'm not even gonna say questions. I got a lot of angry comments about flashlights.
Yeah. It is a hot subject.
Yeah. So one of the things that we often hear about are insta-blinds, to use the community's term.
Yeah.
You stack some of the rare flashlight add-ons, and all of a sudden you've got something that'll just blind in half a second. I think personally that flashlights are worthy of an entire little cube of their own, just to go through, make sure that they work properly all the time, because they have some issues that we are aware of at the moment with reliability. Sometimes they get into a bug state.
Yeah.
We know about it. We are in contact with players who love testing
we were
that kind of thing.
talking about the wire spool.
That too.
Yeah.
Some of the add-ons should be reworked. I know that there are a few that don't work as we originally intended. They work, like they're not bugged or anything, but for example, how both of the high-end ones do increased speed of blinding and increased length of blinding. I think originally the design was to have one that makes it so you can blind someone faster, and the other one is that the effects last longer. Right now they both do both, things like that. So they are probably worthy of a full cube pass.
Someone is asking, are the survivors' victory conditions changing?
Not in the victory cube.
No. However, I expect that the game will change a little bit because of the different pressures that are going to be applied to the killer.
Right. There is. If you are concerned about progression as a player, there is more pressure to sacrifice than there was before.
Yeah, much more. So yeah, I think we've reached the end of this, unless we have other questions. But I think that so far we've done a good job.
We have a meeting.
Yeah, that's in 30 minutes. It's okay. Unless anybody has last minute questions, I think we're going to wrap this up. Thank you very much for joining us.
It was my pleasure.
It was. Bjorn, thank you again for making this happen. Thank you to all the mods out there who came by to listen to us babble on for another hour. Well, me babble on for an hour, you for 30 minutes, Queen for a bit. Thank you for joining us. We'll give you more details on when exactly you can start enjoying the Victory Cube. And we have a lot of really cool stuff coming. Oh, people love you, Bjorn. It says so in the chat. It's official. So there's one last question that might... Oh, have a nice day, guys.
You too. And all of you.
Thank you very much.
Bye,
See you.